What's up, college football fans, quarterback fans? Welcome to another QB Spotlight video. In today's video, we're talking about newly announced starting quarterback for the Florida Gators, Graham Mertz. We're going to talk about what the takeaways are from him being named the starting quarterback and what our expectations are for the season, some realistic expectations. But if you're a Florida fan or just a quarterback fan or just a big college football fan in general, let us know in the comments below what your takeaways were when Mertz was announced as a quarterback a few days ago, or just what your expectations are for the upcoming season for the Gators and for Graham Mertz as a quarterback. And if this is your first time tuning into QB Spotlight, thanks for tuning in. We sincerely appreciate it. This is just a big quarterback hub. We talk all things quarterbacks, specifically the college quarterback position. So we have a podcast with former and current quarterbacks on, as well as former and current coaches on that come and talk. And then, of course, we have content like this that we keep up with the sport. So with that said, let's talk about Graham Mertz and what the big takeaways are. My biggest takeaway, first and foremost, regardless of anything else that happens, is for him to be successful, for Florida to reach its full potential, for Florida to surpass the win total that Vegas is putting out. Mertz is going to have to cut down on interceptions. That was his Achilles heel at Wisconsin, right? His TD to interception ratio was well below 2-1. You want to at least be at that 2-1 threshold, if not more, 3-1, 4-1. A lot of these elite guys are in that 4-1 range, right? So he doesn't have to do that for Florida to reach a bowl by any means, but you can't be doing 10 TDs, 11 interceptions like he did, I think 2-3 years ago at Wisconsin. His best TD to interception ratio, I believe, was 19 TDs to 10 picks. And then the second year starting, he had 10 TDs, 11 picks, and then 9 TDs to 5 picks, something along those lines, right? So I think first and foremost, that has to improve. You have to clean that up. If you can clean that up, this leads to the second takeaway, is I actually think he's walking into a decent position, right? He's got some talent around him that can help him settle in. Now, they return their leading receiver, but my biggest takeaway is the running backs that they're returning. They have over 1,500 yards in total, 1,500 yards returning, production from the running back position with 16 touchdowns. That's a big takeaway for me, especially in Napier's offense, right? If you go back to his successful teams, Napier's successful teams at Louisiana, it was centered around, the offense was centered around getting the running game going. If you can get the run game going, then we can do some play action stuff. If we can get the run game going, then we can get defenses out of position. We can do a lot of pre-snap motion, pre-snap movement, and then that's going to help the quarterback, right? So I think that's a big takeaway for me is even though Mertz has been inconsistent, has struggled at times, and he's turned the ball over more, and he probably obviously wanted to. I think if he can cut back on interceptions, that's going to be largely due to getting the running game going. I think that's what Napier did well at Louisiana. So you hope that year two it translates and that the running game continues to do well. And you can build the passing game on top of that. If you can get him really comfortable in the run game, I think you'll see a better improvement, better play for Graham Mertz. Now, yes, I know he does have the leading receiver coming back, which is great. You need that. You want that camaraderie there. But I think if the running game gets going, then I think Mertz can really elevate, right? With that said, another takeaway for me, if I put myself kind of in Napier's shoes, if you will, and he's even talked about this before, is this is almost like NFL free agency when you're going to get a transfer portal quarterback, right? So with Mertz being from the transfer portal, it was almost like he was a free agent. Now, if I'm a GM or a head coach in the NFL, if I see a quarterback who at the NFL level has a lot of experience, has shown flashes and shown potential, that's what Mertz has done. He's shown flashes, has shown potential, but he's been kind of inconsistent. If I really believe in myself and think he can fit my system, I'll go and get that guy because I think I can maximize his potential, right? Maximize his output. So that is kind of how I view Napier going out and getting Graham Mertz, right? So if you're a Napier fan, a Napier believer, that should be encouraging. You see, like, okay, Napier can go and really help this guy reach his potential and push past maybe his limitations. If you're not a believer in Napier, then maybe you're not as encouraged. Maybe it's kind of disheartening. Whatever way y'all swing, any Florida Gator fans watching this. But for that point, for the perspective, I do think Napier probably thinks he can bring this guy in, and there's probably some stuff in his game that he can help him work through and get better, right? So again, it comes down to cutting down interceptions. That has to be number one. He has weapons around him, especially the running back position, the production, right? It can really help a quarterback get settled in. Napier sees a guy that has plenty of experience, has shown flashes and potential, and now can hopefully put those flashes and potential to be more consistent. And the last thing, the realistic expectation that I have for him is I think he can put up better numbers than what Richardson did last year. Yes, Richardson was a first-round pick. freaky talent. Lot of great stuff to love about Richardson. But I think from a passing standpoint, I think it's a realistic expectation for Mertz to have a better season than Richardson did last year. Richardson's passing completion percentage was like that 54-ish range, give or take, right? I could be off a little bit, but it's in that range, right? Mertz, I think, has set between 57 and 61 at Wisconsin. So you hope and you expect him to be higher than that. You want him to be in that, if he can be in that mid-60s range, that'd be huge, right? But I think it's a realistic expectation to have a better completion percentage. Number two, Richardson threw for just a little over 2,500 yards last year. I think that's another realistic goal and expectation for Mertz to throw for more yards than that. Number three, Richardson had 17 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions. So that's a TD to interception ratio right under 2-1. So I think Mertz can pass that, right? Again, those numbers aren't anything extraordinary, right? And Richardson did a lot with his legs as well, right? I'm not saying Mertz is not going to. I would be shocked if Mertz was able to do that production, but I think it's realistic for Mertz to come in and have better passing numbers. Having, Napier's second year around as a head coach, maybe putting the quarterback in a better position to succeed. You know what I mean? So I think that's a realistic goal and a realistic expectation. Now, if he does that, if he cuts down interceptions, then yeah, I think Florida could probably surpass what people are saying they're going to do this year. If not, that they still have a lot of talent on the team that maybe they still could. But again, those are our takeaways of Mertz, the expectations that we have. But I want to hear from you. What are your expectations? What are your takeaways? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this type of content where we just focus on the quarterback position, please give us a subscribe or follow, whatever you do on YouTube. I guess you subscribe and then like the video as well. It does help us. And let us know what other videos y'all would like to see. We'll have quarterback weekly shows during the week, each week of the season. So again, like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.